Well, hello everyone, and welcome to In the Know 360, show hosted by me, Annette, the warm-hearted warrior diva. This show gives you insights on the journeys of high-achieving business owners and music artists who share with the audience the importance of building a strong community of like-minded individuals on the road to greater success. And tonight, I have the pleasure and honor of welcoming Mr. Justify Smith. Yay! Thank you for joining me this evening, sir. Let's get this energy pumped.
Let's get it cracking, sister. Pleasure to be in your presence.
Thank you. But with that being said, I'm going to pass the mic over to you so you can let the audience know who you are. Who is Mr. Justify Smith?
I'm just a vessel, you know what I'm saying, that God chooses to use at times to, bring a little positivity into the world, you know what I'm saying, and push my purpose, founder, fathers in hip hop, CEO, group economics, just well-rounded individual, trying to make a difference in the world.
Okay, well, he's being modest, but he does so many things. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start off with the questions because I'm sure everybody wants to know. The most important thing is Put the Guns Down, a World Epidemic film that he was a cast in. And anyway, let's go ahead. There you go. See, look, he has everything squared away on his end.
You know,
Put the guns down. And it looks like a lot of people are here on Instagram land. Thank you for joining us. Our Focus Media, we outside. LOE always. I mean, the list goes on. VP Churchill, thank you, sir. All right. Well, I had my caffeine in tonight because tonight is a special night. And I'm just so happy that I'm part of this journey with you. And want to know first, let's bring it all the way back, right? Before the music and the movement, who is justified at the core?
I mean, as far back as I can remember, it's been music. So unless you're talking about, 9-year-old, 10-year-old Mr. Smith, um, music has always been a big part of what I do. Um, man, just a very much loved child, blessed to be brought up in a two-parent home. Um, got to witness what real love and real marriage looks like. Got to see what real fatherhood looks like, through the example of my father. Um, you know, got to experience the best of both worlds. Got to be the cool black kid in the all white neighborhood. Got to be the square turn thug in Compton. You know what I'm saying? I didn't been all around with this thing, man. So I feel like my path has made me a well-rounded individual and has prepared me for the path that God has called me to be on. From the corner street to the corporate suite, I can move around freely.
Yeah, I keep hearing people say, "Where's HD?" Hi, that's your nickname, right? HD High Desert. Is
Yeah, that's the high desert is, known as the HD, and that's
okay.
where I'm at.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How you got the nickname?
Well, I don't have the nickname HD. HD is the nickname for the region that I live in. I've been up here 21 years. Like I said, grew up in Compton, moved to the Inland Empire in my late teens. Um, becoming grown and moving around. Me and my son's mother came to Victorville, and I've been up here in the high desert ever since. 21 years.
Okay. So, because I mean, I saw the real. I was thinking that they were talking to you. Justify Smith, aka HD, because you run the show over there, right? I mean,
Well, it's hard to think about the high desert and not think about Justified, and I say that humbly. Just from feedback that I get from others that, some like to think, I'm a king in this region, but I'm really just a grinder that been paving, pounding the pavement and trying to make a name for myself, and haven't done too bad at that. And I just really represent my region real hard. So they like, Mr. HD, where you at? You know what I mean? Because I always say that, and really that HD where you at is more so of my mission to kind of bring exposure to our region and let people know where the HD is at and what's going on in the HD. You got LA, you got the Inland Empire, you got the high desert, and you know,
Right.
I just represent where I'm at. It's not where I'm from, it's where I'm at. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yes, most definitely. So, what role did music play in your life growing up? And when did you realize it could be a tool for like healing and impact?
I don't think I really discovered the power of it till much later.
Mhm.
But just the in the neighborhood, the homies was rapping freestyle circles, and you do what the homies is doing, and then and doing that, you discovered, hey, I'm pretty nice, you know what I mean? And it's like, let me let me keep moving with this, you know what I mean? So from the moment that I fell in love with the idea of being a rapper or artist, whatever you want to call it, there was nothing else that I could really see myself doing. And I can remember back, to the seventh grade, one of our teachers asking me, well, what's your backup plan? I said, backup plan? I'm about to make this work. You know what I mean? So
Right?
I never saw it not working.
Uh-huh. Okay. Huh. And so what music or what song or artist like impacted you to say, you know what? This is it. This is what I want to do. And also, what is your go-to song that inspires healing?
Man, yeah, you should have sent me a list of these questions. I don't got no answer for you, right? No, I can't say that it was a particular song nor an artist that made me want to do it. It was just music itself. Um,
Mhm.
because when I was, listening to music, music was very diverse. It had
Mhm.
different artists, different sounds. So you could like a Daz Effects, and then you could be on the Chuck
Okay.
D and Public Enemy, and then you could be on NWA. Then you know what I mean. So I think things are so diverse. You just love music and the fact that it gave voice to you. You know what I mean. And again, very much in my young age, I was more of a follower than a leader, right? So as I said, my homeboys was rapping, and
Mm.
you want to fit in, you want to get in, right? So it's kind of something that started as a hobby and just pastime with the homies, and then like when everybody was like, "Oh, he dope," or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you start believing in yourself a little more, and from recording songs on the karaoke, switching the tape out, you
Mhm.
know what I mean, and hearing yourself back, it was like, okay, I like this, you know what I mean, and you know, I had different experiences that led to me getting deeper into it, and it just feels like what you were made for, you know what I mean, and it started with having a voice. You discovered your voice through music, at least I did, and then after that in maturity, you start learning that with that voice you have a choice to say something. And so, as I've grown in the music and discovered the power or the influence of my voice, I've made conscious decisions to represent, certain things, and, be a good vessel, and, kind of let God use me in this industry versus selling out to the other side.
Mm. Okay. Well, I know like probably well for me, my go-to song was like Sade. I always love Sade. I don't know why. But
That's why I go get me some music. I'm sorry. You'd ask you to ask me that, I'd be like, yeah, I got 8 pounds, body knocking. I know, yeah. If you'd have asked me that, I could have answered that.
Oh, okay, okay. Wrong question then. Oh my gosh. So you experienced um profound personal loss, right? How did those moments shape you? Your excuse me, your purpose.
um, well, I think before the loss, you got to think about the seeds, that,
Mhm.
excuse me, that my father planted, introducing me to faith, introducing me to a relationship with Christ, um, you know, instilling prayer into me and just having a relationship with God preceded these losses, and having that faith and that relationship kind of prepared. You never prepared to lose like we lost, but it made it survivable, should I say.
Okay. Looks like of course media said Sade. I know I'm going back and forth with all these emotions, but you
So
know
y'all
what?
got me on this platform. I wish I could see the IG comments, but
You can tap it. I don't know if it's gonna distort our audio, but on in the No 360, everybody's on there. But yeah, like when you started singing H Town, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's bringing me back in high school.
oh, yeah. That was that. Yeah, that boy. That song come on Pandora. It's still striking emotion.
Right?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
it's like
Yeah.
stop what you're doing and start winding. You know what I'm saying?
I love H Town. Oh, and my favorite too is Jodeci. But yeah.
Forever, my lady. Yeah,
Uh
all that.
oh. Uh
That
oh.
you talking my language.
Come on now. You're gonna bring acapella. I mean, hey, I'm all for it. It's your world. It's your oyster.
Hey, people always say that I'm always singing, right? Because I mean, we could be having a phone conversation and you say something, it's like a song will automatically come to mind, and I just bust out. And they be like, "Do you ever stop singing?" I'm like, "Music is in me. I can't help it. I apologize if you don't like it. Hang up."
Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh, too funny. I was waiting for you to carry on with the song, but hey, we could do that after
Yeah, yeah.
the
You
after party
trying to
here,
catch a flight if I'd have did that.
right? Oh my gosh. So, blessed in this mess, excuse me, blessed in the mess is more than a project. It's a message. What inspired it, and what does it represent to you personally?
Okay. Well, blessed in the mess. I'm pretty sure I'm not, the first person to ever say it. But the first time that I said it was in 2020 during COVID, and everybody was over buying toilet paper, and it was really just kind of a self-preservation
Hmm.
moment in our country, right? And I remember one of my partners, that ride with the Fathers in Hip Hop. He texted me and he said, "Did you get that?" And I'm like, "Get what?" And he was like, "Check your Cash App." So I went to my Cash App. The bro had sent me 500 on GP, right?
Hmm.
And when I thought about that, I was like, man, my boy is blessed in the mess. If in a time where the whole world is hoarding and self-preserving, and he can just say, "Let me send, little bro 500 to do whatever you want to do for the movement." I'm like, my bro is blessed in the mess because the world was kind of in a mess. And then it dawned on me when I started thinking, what can I do? He just sent me 500. And I looked at my account, I looked at my under the mattress money. And I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of blessed too, because I can't think of any immediate need that I need to fill with this 500. Let me redistribute it and bless somebody else. And I know my boy, our focus is you said he was on the IG.
Mhm.
He was one of the first brothers that I hit, and was like, "Hey, shoot me your Cash App." And I want to say it was 100. I shot my boy 100, you know what I mean? And then I hit somebody else and shot them 100. And then the last 300, I broke down into 50s and sent, 4 other people 50s or whatever. And, or however that went. But that sparked the blessed in the mess movement, to where God put it on my heart to every day distribute $100 in Cash App distribution to good fathers through Instagram. And I would bring some of my influential music friends from the West Coast, and we do an interview, like how we're doing now, but we would prompt the viewers to drop their Cash Apps in the comments, and we would pick 4 men, 4 fathers, and make a $25 deposit to their accounts, just to bless the mess. and that's where it started, and it just continued to grow. And when you say, $100 a day, first of all, I had to ask myself, God, you told me this, where I'm gonna get it from,
Right.
because I sure didn't have it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put the request out to my friends, hey, who got five on it. We trying to bless, we trying to do $100 a day to bless fathers, and the fives and the tens and the 20s, they would come in, and I made a commitment that whatever came in that day would
Mm-hmm.
go out. The 100 was the goal, but it was days that we brought 200 in, days at 300, but whatever would come in, um, we would go live through Instagram or Facebook, and just tell people to drop their cash apps, and we'd make those blessings, to these men, and then you would get inboxes where people said, hey bro, good looking, I was really going through it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd be like, I know, I wish I could have done more. You're like, I know it was only $25, but I just bought some lunch meat and some bread,
Mm.
and fed my kid today, bro, thank you.
Wow.
And that really, like, God has his ways of giving you confirmation, um, that you're doing what you're supposed to. He will have things like that come across you to let you know we're doing the right thing. And he really provided, because we went from March
Mm-hmm.
all the way through Father's Day, doing a minimum $100 a day, um, through Cash App
Mm.
deposits to random folks. And it made me think of, and why I started saying whatever comes in today, we're going to give it away today,
Mm-hmm.
because he put the story of Moses in my mind when they were out there in the wilderness, and he told them that I'm going to send you manna, and I'm going to send these quail, eat it, don't try to save it, because it's going to spoil by the morning, so whatever you
Mm-hmm.
get today, use it. And that was kind of the motivation to say, even if we get more than 100, we giving away whatever comes in today, because God has put it on my heart to not hold it, but to let it go, trusting that he will replenish again the next day. And like I said, we went from March up until Father's Day, and every day that manna and that quail showed up in the Blessed in the Mess movement. And, just a strong movement, and we still do it from time to time.
Wow. Talk about faith, your faith is being stretched and believing and trusting in God that's going to provide, give these provisions, to the masses. And
You have you have to. And like most Americans, have some type of, financial struggle, or have to manage, funds. And me being an entrepreneur, self-employed, unemployed, whatever term makes you feel good about it, um, I really have to manage
mm-hmm.
my money, because I could have a good day and then I could have a bad day. I could have a good month then a bad month. So I really have to be focused on managing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but one thing that I've learned, and it might be a little radical for some, is that if it's a need and if it's a necessity and you have it in your hand, let it go. Because oftentimes we'll have the money and be like, oh, I can't pay this bill because I got to pay that bill, or I can't do this because I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
do that. And I've kind of come to an obedience in the way I move, that if it's in my hand and it's a need or a necessity, let it go. Because if I don't let it go, then I'm doubting God's ability to provide.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I don't want to disrespect my father in heaven, you know what I mean? By saying you can't do it. And I got to, I ain't going to pay this light bill, because if I spend the money, I ain't going to have no money. Um, but I've learned to trust his provision. And it's easier said than
Mm-hmm.
done, but somehow, you know, I've been able to manage that train of thought, that, especially with credit cards. Back in the day, I
Yeah.
didn't give a damn about no credit, and I ain't pay, and now I've come to a point of being responsible to where I pay all my bills, even if
Mm-hmm.
it's something that won't really damage me if I don't, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like if I have it in my account to pay it, that to do it, because it's the right thing to do, and if I do the right thing, that God will continue to replenish and rebuild me, and get me through the next need.
That is so true. I've actually experienced that. I was talking with We Outside on the last episode, and how, your faith is being stretched, especially financially, because I had retired a year ago, and my check was cut in half. And so thankfully my son, the oldest son, was working, and so he was able to help me through the financial crisis. But that's uh that was a whirlwind, and still learning to, like you say, just leave it up to God and have faith that provisions will be coming to you. And it's
It's
it's real it's really, I think the fear, right? False evidence appearing real. It's like the fear that we put on ourselves, but we shouldn't have that fear, because you don't know like tomorrow or the next day or the month or what have you. So I definitely can relate
Well,
when it
I
comes.
like to believe that faith and fear cannot be under the same house. You can't have faith and be fearful of anything. If your faith has to override fear. And when you've seen God work in your life over and over and
Yeah.
over and over and over again,
Mm,
um, I don't think we ever lose that initial fear hitting, but it
right.
comes a point to where your faith is automatically activated by knowledge. You know what I mean? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
let's look at the track record here. Um, and in my life, God has been undefeated, and it's been moments where I stressed, where I worried, where
Mm-hmm.
I, you know, caused myself unnecessary anguish, only for Him to make a way. And then I feel like, man, I spent all that time crying, all that time worrying, and He showed
Right.
up just in the nick of time. And so when that happens so many times, it gets easier to snap out of the feeling of fear, because you have too many accounts to remind yourself of that. Man, God has been faithful. He's been real.
Yes.
My favor hasn't been fair, even when I didn't deserve it. He saved me. Um, so, like I said, it's easier to say it than it is to do it, but it's
Right.
doable. And I win more battles than I lose these days, because I've learned to really embrace my faith and know that He ain't done with me yet. So I'm gonna be all right.
Amen. I love it. We should call you Pastor Justified Smith.
Don't call me pastor. They be stealing. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I love my bishop. I love my bishop. He a good man. He a good man.
Oh
But
man.
I don't want to be a pastor. I just want to be a vessel. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. Oh, hey, what's going on, King TV? Salute.
King
Eloise,
TV, we coming
always
up on your thing next, baby.
right. I'm keeping track of time, making sure that he's on time for your show. Okay, Eloise always says, "I approve this message." Lots of laughing faces. Real talk.
And King, don't be asking the same question, because I ain't gonna answer them twice, sucker. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You
Uh-oh.
better be taking notes, nigga.
I love his show. Oh my gosh, he's so funny. If you guys haven't tapped in with King TV, he's hilarious. Well, hilarious in a good way. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So tell us about one moment, right, during the giveaway or outreach that reminded you of why this work matters.
Um, it's a couple, and I'll be brief.
Okay.
When we moved from um doing the Cash App dispense, because I was like, what if some of these dudes, they dropping their names in the comments, and maybe they really ain't even, they might be deadbeat daddies, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just blessing them
Mm,
because they said that, you know what I mean? And God put it on my heart. I was in Walmart one day, and we hadn't done the online giveaway yet,
mhm,
and I seen some fathers in the store,
mhm.
and I'm like, and they were with their kids, like I got to see their fatherhood, right?
Oh, okay.
And I bought some Walmart gift cards and blessed them. And at that moment, the movement turned from Cash App to Walmart cards. Um,
Okay.
so we would go through Walmart and look for fathers that where children were present, and just could, I really asked God to lead to the need, like take me to the people that need this, right? And one instance, it was this gentleman, older white man, and he was with his grandson. And I was like, "Oh, you a double daddy, you a grandpa, why?" And so we went to give him his card, and he looked at the little boy and he said, "Now I can get you that toy you wanted." And the little kid was like, "Yeah," you know what I mean? And so that was one of the moments that was like, "Yeah, this is dope." It was another instance where we were in the Compton Walmart, and somebody I was in a relationship with at that time dealing with, I don't deal with her no more, but she was with us, and she said, "You guys always blessing the fathers. I seen this lady just come in, and I really feel like you should do something for her." And so we were like, "All right, bet, where'd she go?" So me and the crew, we walking through this Walmart looking for this lady. And then, we walked up on her, and my boy, Big to the Boy, was with me. And he was like, "Just, that's the home girl. Her baby dad just died yesterday." And she had these two kids, her kids with her. And I mean, it wasn't a dry eye in the owl. Like, that moment was like, God led us to this woman. So instead of $100 gift card, we gave her $200. And I mean, it's on video because we always brought our cameramans to be accountable with what we were doing with donations. And you could just see, like, everybody that was with us was like, it was like overwhelming because I mean, she broke down crying, and it just automatically made everybody else cry. And so it's moments like those that God shows up, and you see He's really using you to do a good thing, and that He will direct you to the right people. Because for my lady at the time to pick that woman out of everybody in the store and said it was something about her, and that her spirit said pick her, and for us to get to her, my boys knew her and knew that she had just lost her children's father, was like, that was nothing but God.
Wow.
So it's those type of moments. Like I said, God will always show you when you're on the right track, and He will also slow you down when you're on the wrong one. So
that part right there.
You just follow the guidance. You ask for guidance and keep your eyes open.
I love that message. Looks like Beefy Churchill said, "Swab, grown men were in tears." Wow, for real. Facts, Swab. Okay. Looks like a lot of people. Thank you guys for joining us. And wow, that's amazing what you do, like, on a daily. And oh my gosh, that just gave me chills just thinking about it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it can get deep. And like I said, you asked, before, and some may not know that, in 2014, I lost my wife to cancer. And 11 months prior to her passing, I lost my mother, to her battle with lupus. And so the more that I learn about mental health, you know, that was a mental health challenge, right? And like I said earlier, that the fact that I already knew God, the fact that I already had a relationship with God, it didn't take away the pain, but it helped me push through it, because I knew that He was with me, and that He would not let me fail. When people, my in-laws were like, "Oh, you can't raise them girls. You're doing shows. You're doing this. Let those girls come, with me to Alabama, and they need a woman in their life, and you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it." I had to look in the mirror and be very honest with myself and say, "Justified, they're right. You can't do it. But through God, through Christ, I can do all things." And I knew that it was going to be God to carry me through that. And there was no way that, no pun intended, there was no way that I could justify sending my daughters to be raised outside of my presence after just losing their mother and expecting God to show favor on my life. I'd be signing my own death certificate if I made that choice. So instead of welling over what I couldn't do, I found strength in knowing what God could do. And I had faith that he was gonna make a way. And I'll be honest, um, it it has been easier than I thought. Like he's really carried me in such a way, and I love telling people this. I say God has carried me in such a way through this journey that He has provided for me to the point that I have not had to beg, borrow, or my favorite part, kiss nobody ass to make it. And He has, it's Him. It's I haven't had to borrow. I haven't had to cry out for help. God has been my source in the most amazing way. And not only have I not had to beg or borrow, He's blessed me in a way to where I can lead a movement of giving to others. And to me, that's amazing. You know what I mean? That it could have went many different ways, but God chose to push me through it. And it was in that movement that Fathers in Hip Hop was born, because I was now in alignment with my purpose of fatherhood, that fatherhood became the most important piece of my life, because I had these two girls who were 6 and 8 years old that I had to completely do everything for. And that will put a lot of things in perspective. It'll make you not do a lot of things. It'll make you not take a lot of chances. I can't, when my wife was living and my mama was living, it's like something happened to me, they'll be all right. But now I don't have nobody to say that they'll be all right. So,
Yeah.
me. Real talk. It's on me. So, bang, bang.
I had to, thought came to me, and I feel like it's the salvation, your salvation, that's um, carried you through this movement and helping people and helping others and supporting others, and modeling this, that anybody that's going through hardship, right, can make it through as well. And I applaud you for that, and my condolences. And I did see your video, by the way, the video on your loss, and I was very touched. I mean, I was teary eyed. I look, I was already teary eyed at Terry C. Carney's seniors interview. Now you gotta get me to cry. Oh my gosh! Oh, wow. Looks like a bunch of
Tears are
people.
or water and seeds deep inside your soul. Let it flow.
Oh man.
Yeah. So but yeah, man, it's that's what it is. And sometimes um it's hard, and I gotta work on it, right? Because sometimes I'll see others going through things, and um we have reasons and we have excuses, right? um and it is hard for me to see other people going through things and understand why they're not trying to make it, right? Or why they're letting these things stop them from work, stop them. Oh, my cousin just died. I don't, I get it. Like, I have that heart for it, but then it's like, I'll be like, man, if you don't get your ass up and exercise your faith, you know what I mean? So it's hard for me to battle that, because sometimes I may expect others to move how I moved, and I have to learn that everybody's not going to process and move through things, the way that I did. So those moments are moments. Sometimes I have to check myself, because, my wife passed on a Wednesday, and I was on stage that Friday, and people looked at that as, some people like, oh, he's strong, and then you had the suckers that was like, oh, he didn't care about his wife, she just died, he out here doing shows. Well, what they don't know is that those shows were my therapy. Those shows were my mental health being sustained, because I would go crazy sitting at home thinking about my losses.
Right.
And for whatever reasons, like I said, the faith, the relationship with God that was already in me allowed me to keep moving in real time. I didn't have to take time off to keep moving. You know what I mean? It just was instinct I got to keep going. But it was the same way I processed, my mother. Like, she had just passed, right? And it was like, stay busy, stay working, stay, on the grind, and you won't give yourself time to be sad, upset, and feeling hopeless. You know what I mean? So, um, I wish I wish everybody could have that, mindset. But I watch a lot of people suffer loss and suffer, tragedies, and they give up on themselves. And I just, I couldn't do that for me. So I try to understand and be empathetic, to people that can't seem to get it together, but it'd be a part of me that I'd be like, man, I don't want to hear that. You better get up and get out and get to it. You know what I'm saying? But everybody processes pain different.
That's true, and it's an ongoing process. It's my dad passed away back in 2007, I think, or I can't. It's been so long, but um, yeah, it's for me. I every time I see a school bus, because he was a bus driver, I recollect her memories. I remember one time when I don't know if this was legal, maybe I should be telling everyone, but he would he
Don't
would take
be
no,
snitching on
that's
yourself
fine.
now.
It's all good. Like one day, you think about memories, right? And one day he was like, picked me up from school and with the rest of the kids, and we dropped all the kids, and then he was like, you know what? Let's get to McDonald's. So here we are, rolling in a full like long school bus, regular school bus to the McDonald's drive through. And it was first grade. And I was like, wow, just thinking about it, just anyway. So let's move on to the film, right? You're featured in a powerful documentary, Put the Guns Down, a World Epidemic. How did you get involved in the movement?
Um, Big Suave, shout out to Suave, VP Churchill. He was working with Terry. He called me and introduced me to Terry. Told me about the film and would I be willing, to be involved? And it was like, duh, you know what I mean? Like,
Right?
yeah, I want to be in a movie. You know what I mean? And they came up to the house. Um, we filmed. I was doing a peace rally at one of the parks up here, and they came out and did some footage there, filmed me, speaking there and whatnot. And it was like it was one of those things that I felt very good about. Like in this game, you get numb to disappointment. You get numb to people making promises and not coming through. So now when people tell me things, I'm like, yeah, all right. I'm not fist to, it's been so many times. It's on, it's about to, oh man, it's popping. Only for a nigga to been lying. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And but I felt real good, about this movie. And for me, it was like this is something that's going to change my life. This is going to be something that's going to push me into, another level of blessing, right? And then we hit COVID
Mm.
and filming stopped. And it's like, is this the end of the road? You know what I mean? And because you didn't know, it's like everything just stopped. And so it was like, man, here's another one of these, disappointments, right? But Terry and Suave and the whole Platinum City team, man, they weathered that storm and they kept going. And then when they got back moving and we was back filming and doing things, it was like it's back on. Um, so to see it here, um, 5, almost 6 years later, on Peacock, on
Right.
all these
Right.
platforms, and to have sat in theaters at screenings and to be 51 film festival
Mhm.
awards, and it's like, my goodness, you know what I mean? And it's still not over. We're really just beginning um to push, because we all have agreed that this is more than a movie, it's a movement.
Mhm.
And we have to take this out of the theater, off of the screen, and into
Right.
the streets. And that's what we're all working hard right now to figure out. how do we make this movie be more than a movie, but to actually put traction and action to it, and it become a movement. And and I haven't even talked to Terry or any of them about this, but I had a revelation today for myself because I used to promote a lot of concerts. I used to do a lot of stuff in the clubs, and I used to do a lot of stuff with an audience that wasn't so pleasant, right? And I always saw myself as a light in the dark. But it became a time a couple years ago where I didn't want to be around that no more. So now I'm like doing community events. I'm doing, things with the city officials. I'm no longer marketing and promoting, rappers and doing that like I was. And I was having a conversation with somebody, and it dawned on me that because I'm bringing shout out to my boy Compton AV, right? We're bringing him out here for a concert, and he pulled me back into that fold. Like, just my new album dropped, man. I'm signing a deal. I need to come to the high desert. I need you to only do what I want, to coordinate my shows. And I'm like, bro, I don't be doing that no more. He like, but you still know how, and I need you to do it. You know what I mean? And I have made a vow to only party with a purpose. So now I'm bringing AV. We're bringing Haiti Baby and Bust Down and all these artists, and it's a crowd that's coming that the conversation with the owners of the venue is security. We know what audience is coming, right? And I said, this is where God needs me to push the gun down movements, because it's one thing for me to sit in front of city officials and mayors, city council, right, business owners, nonprofits.
Yeah.
While they may feel the message and support the message, they not the ones that need the message. It's these hard heads that's gonna show up at this concert that God has given me a certain charge over for me to get on stage and to tell them how necessary it is to put the guns down. And I have a tendency when I speak, people listen, right? And then I have AV with his influence, who's agreed to co-sign. This is a put the guns down moment. You know what I mean? And what room of people need to hear that message more than the room we're going to be in? Right. So that's kind of, that's what's making me feel better about going back behind what we call enemy lines, because I've really walked away from that world, for various reasons. And I've been struggling in my own self, like, man, should I be doing this? Like, I didn't have clarity, but I just moved because my guy asked me to. But God showed me today that I have called you back to this space because this is who needs to hear your put the gun down message. So I'm feeling better about the decision that I made to do these 2 concerts. But they have to be in alignment with my purpose. And the purpose is to move the movie into a movement. And I can't think of a better crowd that needs to hear this, because I'm guaranteeing you 30% of that audience got straps in the car. You know what I mean? So they need to hear that message before they leave out that night, that, man, put their guns down. You know what I'm saying? Squabble up, put the guns down.
Well, he gave you that leadership role. God gave you that leadership role to make a change and make a difference. And so what an opportune time. See, I feel like a lot of things are in alignment, right?
Right.
And your purpose and your destiny and what God has for you. And so and it's funny how like you just got that download to say, this is what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to go ahead and use this forum to provide the information so that way people have this awareness, right? And to make a difference. And honestly, I think that people will feel like inspired, if that makes sense, like to make a change, to make a difference, regardless of what's going on in their lives, right? I think when it comes, the bottom line is, let's go ahead and save lives. That's what the bottom line for what my perspective is on this movement.
Right. And I'm believing that when God God will speak through you, right? So me, I don't have any gang ties. I grew up in neighborhoods. I know a little bit about it, but I'm not like an active, gang member, nor have I ever been. And so I'm more of what people would call a square, right? And you got these killers and you got these thugs and you got these gangsters. But when God speaks through you, it can move a person, right, to pause. And it's been times in the past in the club where it's two people that one of them on site type of situations, and they at one of my events and they lock eyes and they about to get it in and act up. And then my security is being weird, in my opinion, at this time. And I step in like, bro, chill out. Like, man, this is my event, bro. Don't get my event shut down, bro. And like, no, Justified, he got to give me the fade. Well, I'm like, bro, but not here. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and I have a certain level of what I would like to think is respect in my community, and that that people will chill out for me. You know what I mean? So I think when we push this put the guns down movement, that it's coming from a place and a person that, people know my testimony. People, they've seen God carry me. So it's as a certain type of, I don't want to say praise, but a certain type of reverence, like that's justified. That's God. That's right there, man. Chill, kick back. You know what I mean? And because messing with me, you're messing with God, and He'll turn your lights out. So anyway,
Right.
I just
For
feel like
real.
God have given me a voice that not only the streets will listen to, but that these people in the political seats
Yes.
can listen to, and that God is going to use me as a bridge. Because one thing that I've always wanted to do was to change the narrative. When you hear hip hop, it's not the most positive thoughts to come to mind. I want people to think about the positivity of hip hop. I want them to think about the fathers in hip hop.
Yes.
I want them to think about the messages in hip hop. It is going to take a lot of work to change the narratives that have been built, that have been funded and fueled by the industry to create these narratives. It's going to take just as much energy to break those narratives and to show something different. The car clubs, the motorcycle clubs, they do a lot for the community. But when you hear motorcycle club, car club, you automatically have this negative image of black car clubs and black motorcycle gangs, period, because the white boys be acting up too. But you know what I'm saying? That's the main thing you think of. But these car clubs that I know out here, the Mad Circle, uh, City to City, all like, man, they give back. They do backpack drives. They give food to the homeless. They take care of the community and they sections, right? But you never hear about it. And it's because our negative behavior outshines our positive movements. So I'm sitting at phone calls and talking to like, dude, y'all got to come with me. Y'all have to help me show these people that think so badly of us. We got to show them that we're not that.
Yeah.
And it's let's show up. Come to the city council meeting with me. Show up to these events that don't seem gangster enough for you.
Right.
And be that person that your heart pushes when you're giving back. Because these clubs are nonprofits, but they're not getting no nonprofit funding because they niggles, right? Excuse my language, but that's what it is. They need to come show, it's not that we got to dance and shuck and jive for them, but we need to change their mind about who we are. And I can walk in rooms, and sometimes the other folks or the higher ups, they don't even call me justified. They say, "Hey, hip hop," and I love that, because what that is saying is that what they're seeing me do is now their vision of hip hop.
Nice.
For me to walk in the room and somebody would dress me as, "Hey, hip hop," and they know what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, that's a win. You know what I mean? And I just want them to see us in a different light and stop living up to the narratives, because we be out here messing up. You know what I mean? And we got to do better. We can't expect change until we become the change that we want to see.
Yeah, I think that what you mentioned earlier, that there's so much like like you were saying, the car show, the bike show, for instance, or the movement from these venues, I think that we have so much footage, media, right? It's very powerful. So we can collaborate as a unit from all angles and show that, hey, we're doing all these positive things in the community, right? And share and share and share and share. That way, everybody sees what's going on. Because it takes like one incident to tarnish everything that you've built. You know what I mean?
But we got to get ourselves right, though. We can't be double minded. You know what I mean? We can't be good over here and then turn around and do something. You know what I mean? Like, we got to really find that thin line,
And
I
there's
guess. You know what I mean? Because I'm not perfect by any stretch, but there's just some things that I can't and won't do. You know what I mean? And we can't, I don't know. We can't be lukewarm. You know what I mean? We have to really make a change. We can't just, give back to the community once a year and then tear it down the other 11 months with bullshit. So
so what like Terry C. Carney Sr. was saying, right? Young kings, like people like that's the
right.
way. So with the fathers in hip hop, right? Are you guys also focused on the young kings and the young like mentoring uh the young kings coming up, or like what do you have in store for them?
I think my thing has been to get my age, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, to get us grown men to step into a place of accountability, right?
Right.
And like Suave and I were talking about the other day, it's our responsibility to uh, show something and to speak to the younger generation of fathers. And, you know, so that's my thing. I want the OGs to like, hey man, in my old raps, I used to talk about pimping hoes and shooting up the block and whoop wop wop, but now, we not living those lives no more. So for if me as a 46-year-old man, for me to get on on a record and talk about things that I'm not doing is really weird. You know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
like, let your music reflect the man that you become now. Let's talk about getting property. Let's talk about stocks. Let's talk about growth. You know what I mean? Let's talk about
Right.
generational wealth in our music, and then
Right.
push that on, to this next generation. We want to be examples for these new fathers. Um, it's a baby born every day. This baby's born every day. It's fathers are made every day. Um, how can we impact the way they father? How can we show them that that's everything? That for me, when I was pushed in the seat of fatherhood, that just
Mhm.
me, it changed everything
Mm.
because now I began to live for my children, and that shaped my decisions in a different way because
Right.
it wasn't about me anymore. It was about them. And
Mhm.
that has been the main ingredient to my success is that everything I do is like I do it for them.
Mhm.
Um, they might not like, you know, how I discipline as far as they girls. I ain't whooped them, but I all I got is my voice, and sometimes I've used it wrong. I don't talk to them girls that way, but they don't understand my frustration because my wife was the enforcer because we had all girls. You know what I mean? Like moms would grab their lips or give them the backhand. Daddy can't do that. All I got is my voice. All I got is
Mhm.
and so it for me it's a challenge how I navigate with my girls, and people always tell me what I should do, but 9 out of 10 of them ain't in my shoes. And
Right.
I've raised respectable girls. Um, I've done the best that I can do, and I just want my fatherhood journey to be an example to other fathers. Like, put your kids first. So I don't think there's any specific age bracket that I'm targeting. I
Mhm.
just I just want men and fathers to step into our right positions. You know what I mean? And you know, so I'm all over the place with the movement. I might be here today and there tomorrow, but I feel like long as I'm moving in the right direction, I'm moving.
Well, I'm hoping that your movement, right, will be interjected into the movie, into the next episode, because I think, of course, there's the mission, but then we want to show like the results and on what the movie has done within the community, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. And I think that if there's like visuals that's incorporated, whether it's artists going out there providing, like for instance, your team providing the Walmart cards or the what have you, or school bags or whoever's coming to help, right?
Hmm.
That should be also, I believe, that's just my Annette's opinion, added onto the film because that's where we're trying to get to, right? We're trying
Well, as
that's
you know, the film is done into series, right? And the the editing and the storyline of the film, it's so amazing how they took this story and built it up. And
Mhm.
then as you get towards, the end of the film, it's like we laid out the problem, we laid out the issue,
Right.
we showed you where it started from, we showed you how it
Mhm.
grow. Now in the last 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the film, and that's where the fathers in hip hop segment comes in, is we start discussing the solutions.
Love it.
We don't need to walk into we know what the problem is.
Right, right.
Let's not have a discussion panel talking about the problem. We know that.
Mhm.
Let's discuss the solutions, and not only discuss them, but let's put these plans into motion. And
Yes.
I feel very confident that that's where Terry and Swab and Eugene and the whole team is taking this movement, because it was explained to me um, in that first meeting between me and
Yes.
Terry and Swab, was that, and I don't know if he said it in these exact words, but this is what I took from it. Check me if I'm wrong, fellas. But Justified, fathers in hip hop is the answer.
Yes.
And that's why they wanted me to be a part of the film, was to bring light to the solution. That if we get our fathers in alignment, and if we bang fatherhood as strong as we banged our neighborhood, we can make a major difference in our communities. And that's where the movement has to go. We know
Yes.
the problem. The next installments will be dealing with the solutions. And that's what the movement is. The movement ain't going to be talking about what happened. We're going to be active in what needs to change, and push that narrative. And I have all the faith in the world that this movie is going to do everything that Terry saw being done, because he's a very strong man in faith. And I know he believes God. I know he loves God. I know he is a vessel for God. And I don't see anything but great things happening for this man and his film. And he always says, this ain't my movie. This our movie. This ain't his movement. This is our movement. And that's why he's moving us all around, so we all can bring our voice to this cause and get the guns put down.
Well, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up because I don't want you to be late to King TV show.
Yeah, I got
Um,
to before I go over there. I'm just playing. I ain't going.
so,
I was
all
just
right.
talking crazy.
It's all good. So, let me ask you this, though. We're going to have some fun for like within 1 minute. Favorite hip hop album of all time? Go.
Tupac, Me Against the World.
Okay. Um, your go to comfort food?
Chicken and jambalaya.
Text or phone call?
Phone call.
One thing people would be surprised to learn about you.
I'm just a big old teddy bear.
Okay, early mornings or late nights?
Both of them.
Favorite quote of life mantra?
Say that again.
Your favorite quote?
It would be my own, that I took my pain and converted it into the passion to pursue my purpose. Bang.
Okay. And if you weren't doing music and community work, what would you be doing?
Big pimping. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever it is, I'd be getting some money.
Oh my gosh. And let me just pull this up right quick. I'm going to show you guys the group economics. We didn't get to it. We're going to have a part 2, sir. But this is his website. So if you go to groupeconomicsproductions.com, check him out. And then he's also on all platforms. I'll let you take the mic right now. Let me go ahead and stop the screen. And we'll go ahead and close out. Any advice you would like to give? Anything that's on your mind about the film?
I just really want people to go watch it. You know, I take these flyers with me everywhere I go. I'm in the grocery store, just anywhere I'm at. You know, I'm stopping people and say, hey, when you ain't doing nothing later on tonight or you got some free time, check out the movie. I let them know what it's about. I just really want people to see the movie. Don't let the word documentary make you think of boring, because that's what I think. When I think I don't want to see no goddamn documentary. I want to see some act, you know what I mean? But this movie will have you locked in your seat. The only time you'll want to pause it is if you got to go pee-pee. But sit down and watch the movie. Let the message move you, and then find a way to take that, what you saw in the movie, and be a part of the movement, because it's going to take a multitude of people to come together and make this happen. We need those views. We need the industry to see the importance and the impact of this film. And, you know, that's all I can say, man, is watch the movie.
Yeah.
Go watch. All you got to do is watch. I tell people, I say, even if you just listen, if you washing the dishes, just turn it on and hear it.
Right.
Because it's the commentary. It's the message that's being spoken in this film that you don't necessarily have to have eye contact with it.
Right.
If you're folding clothes, if you're doing the dishes, if you know, just anything, press play. Turn the TV on and press play. Bang. Put the guns down.
Right. And it's on Prime Video. It's on Google TV, Apple TV, Peacock. I rented it out for $4.99. It's only for $4.99, and it lasts for 30 days for a rental. Hey,
y'all done BS'd and missed it when it was free, because it came out free for a while. Okay,
well, you know. Well, I'm just letting folks know that, hey, you can go ahead and, you know, or we could do a live movie too. That's what I'm going to start doing. So with that being said, anything else you would like to tell the audience, sir?
Man, if you don't know God, get to know God. If you don't have faith in God, get some. And man, just walk in your purpose. If you're not walking in your purpose, then what are you doing? Find your purpose. And sometimes it's not easy to find it, but look for it. Seeking you'll find. Sit down and really ask yourself, why am I here? What did God create me to do in this world? And when you find that, everything else will open up to you. So that's my best advice for anybody, is find your purpose and then walk in it. Bang, bang.
Well, thank you so much.
And I'm single. I'm single, ladies. Hit my DM. No, I'm just playing. I am, though. I ain't thirsty. I'm well hydrated. But yeah.
You heard it here at Endino 360.
I'll be that baby step Paul. No, I'm just playing.
I was going to ask you before you go, how was your experience with Endino 360, by the way?
Huh?
How was your experience with Endino 360?
How was my experience with In the Know 360?
Yeah.
About 10 minutes too long. No, I'm just messing with you. I had a great time. I've had a good time with you ever since we connected. I don't believe in coincidences. I'm right where I'm supposed to be on this screen with you, and this will not be the last time. If there's anything that I could do to, you know, help, you know, push your movement, I'm nothing but a text or a DM away, girl.
Yes, sir.
Holla at me.
Well, make sure you tap in with King TV. He's about to bounce over there soon. And let's continue to support the Unity for Social Justice. Let's free Mastuyo, free Prentice Banks, free Jay Burton. This has been a broadcast of Showing Love Full Circle. between NNO 360 and Mr. Justified Smith, aka no, I was gonna say Daddy-O. Anyway, okay, with that being said, much love. Thank you so much. God
Shout out to
bless.
Platinum City, Golden West, Terry, Schwab, Eugene, Chili Chill, you know, the real ones, the day ones, you know what I'm saying? The ones really moving the movement, man. I love y'all. Thank you for letting me be.
Uh-oh, I think he froze. Oh, okay. I think it okay, you're there now. Well, with
I didn't freeze, you froze. I'm too hot to freeze. What are you talking about?
oh my gosh, you're gonna get me in trouble from King TV. All right. With that being said, salute, much love, God bless. Have a wonderful night and be safe.
Bang, bang.